Chapter 3, the next, DOD Weapon System Acquisition Reforms Product Support Assessment. Uh, Chapter 3, the next generation business model for the lifecycle product. The chapter explains the characteristics of the framework of the Department of Defense, new Department of Defense model, business model, improving the product support. It provides with requirements, overview, explanation of the design, and summary how it can be applied with the further steps to ensure the significant implementation of the current future environment requires the significant change of the way the Department of Defense makes the execute product and support decisions. As described in Chapter 1 and 2, the resource constraints, the dynamic operational requirements continue to exacerbate the product support challenges. The product support extremely complex requirements, the integration with the full range of stakeholders, process cross civilian, military, political, financial, industrial, academic, multiple national boundaries, individual weapon system product of support outcomes are imperative, but they should capitalize on effectiveness, availability through commodity enterprising, the management approach of the cross-functional, cross-agency team. Needed is essential focus on the enterprise with the objective of centralized execution construction to achieve the desired weapon system and outcome that requires moving beyond the functional exclusion. Excellence to portfolio platform excellence is best solution no longer rely on the functional stovepipes. They require integration with the best suited participants created with a hybrid organic commercial capability of the effective and affordable to deliver warfighter-based outcomes. This new focus changes the product support strategy, processes, policy, reassuring to achieve the appropriate balance with the weapon system capability, total ownership costs, and the restricted deliver optimum value. While there are other factors affecting these elements, product support deficiency is also clear with the major costs, driver, and readiness influencing the factor throughout the product lifecycle. Support the performance support assessment team recommendations of the new business model that will improve the product support execution decision making process. Recommendation: adopt the product support business model that drives the cost-effective performance capability of warfighter across the weapon system life cycles, enable the most advantage of the integrated defense industrial space. Integrated departments and industrial base. Requirements of the product support business model. The typical business model looks at the basic logic of the company, internal, external perspective. It also includes the client interface, the revenue spirits, the revenue streams, cost structures necessary, the value chain to execute the implementing of the business. Department of Defense business model provides the representation of how the Department of Defense intends to provide a valued product or service. In this case, the product is optimized product of support through the balancing of the maximum weapon system availability with the most affordable and predictable total ownership costs. Requirements for the new business model will develop in using the lifecycle product to support the vision guiding the principal standard business model characteristics, the performance support assessment team findings. These sources conclude that the business model must be focused on affordable warfighter outcome based on the objectives, enable the fact-based decisions supported by the data, use the lesson learned over the last decade to evolve and improve the performance-based logistics, be compliant with the statutes and policies subject to the recommended changes, provide usable information integrated with the logistics enterprise of the planning, programming, budgeting, execution, defensive acquisition, operational decision making. Identifying and assigning as actions, roles, responsibility, standard, and performance of facilitating calibration, imparting capitalization, the extensive growth or extensive organic commercial defensive industrial-based be flexible, responsive to address emergent warfighting requirements, utilize the toolbox of the product support options. The product support business model should be help the requirement that generated the program management department until logistics industrial-based members of the policymakers will together with the makers implement more informed lifecycle product support decision that require the comments focus the balance with the tridimensional combination of cost, risk, and capability, thereby the creating the value of the proposition of an affordable level of outcome-based performance. The difference between the capability requirement for the capability that can be achieved while the availability of the resources create the risk there. The program lifecycle division will involve the making the trades between capability, costs, and risk. Although the programs have known and frequently documented, but the product support is seldom the knowledge of the substantive program solving way. Program support risk is driven by the number of the different variables, including the system performance variances on the land, operational, environmental change, and economic situation, availability of the resources. The ideal situation would be steady state where the resources adequately fully support the requirements. The reality that rarely occurs with the requirements consistently exceed the available resources. The uncertain environmental creates dynamic capability, capacity, resource requirements, competing the demands of limited resources consistent with schedule pressures and time phase, the value, the type of the funding with availability to do all the added complexities. To ability to choose wisely among the alternatives required the culture and then focus on delivering the performance outcomes that managed by the facts. The business model must be provided with the mechanism to measure the assessment and to compare with the performance outcome and the cost of the risk objectives to be making informed, pragmatic, and thorough life decisions. Weapon system supported involvement of the is continuous with the journey that will be using the iterative approach for the refining of the process, adapting the change, eliminating the obstacles that must be capitalized on the best practices of the provided with the closed loop feedback process, thereby the process model should be incorporated lessons learned, success stories of the Department of Defense experience with the performance-based logistic, contractor logistics support, public-private partnerships, and performance-based agreements, and other sustaining solutions over the last decade. Product support decisions have been directed and impacted the warfighters' operational planners. The most of them must be enabled the military departments to make their unit-centric support outcomes that generally sufficient unit availability, reliability, affordability. This requires acknowledgement, incorporation of the way the warfighters executed their mission Viva the Brigade Combat Team. The USA Carrier Battle Group USN and Expeditionary Air Wing USAF. Other unit-centric mechanisms, history, the replete, explain how the logistic win and loss of the war's product and support constitute approximately 70% of the logistic cost, while the cost alone should not dictate the warfighting decision elements to provide the product of the support costs undoubtedly have an impact on the warfighter's freedoms of action. In addition to the logistic footprint, there is an opportunity cost. Even the dollar spent on the support of the command support could be spent on elsewhere. While the objective may be an individual system performance, the model cannot ignore the economy, scale, and the effectiveness that can be harnessed with the consolidating lighting items for an enterprise economy of the management approach. The model must be designed to not address the specific product decision, must also provide information that integrates with logistic enterprise operational decision making. Understanding integration, capitalization of the value organization brings it to its tough product support challenge. The magnitude and scope of the product and support involved with the main discipline perspectives organization rarely does one of the find more diverse group that it can produce and cause significant value with the movement. But this group faces these two tough challenges: achieving the efficient integration within the boundaries of the statute, policy guidelines, historical paradigms, orchestrating the efforts of the monumental task being defining the clear roles, responsibilities, best to the standard performance of the business model with the accurate leverage of communicating competency, help to the effective, equitable, transparent relationship based on the common warfighting desired outcomes that include the private industry and is emphasized with the acquisition technology and leadership. Acquisition technology and logistic leadership. In our country, we buy our military equipment from a private industry, so there are partners in equipping our force. I would like to have a relationship with the candor and dialogue where they in this together. The product support assessment team, weapon system assessment reinforced with the potential of the partnership strategies can be pursued, higher sustained readiness improvement as shown in Figure 9. Figure 9 shows a partnership strategy produced by higher sustained readiness, a fighter attack, a bomber, patrol, cargo, rotary, land, assault, and land transportations, while on the organic capabilities, partnership, and the industrial capabilities, sustained readiness and improvement over the with mixed with the integration and the strategy. Rapid technology changes the emerging threats, access, necessity of more flexible, responsive product, the development, sustaining retirement system. An example of the threats imposed with improved explosive devices highlight the department's need for the rapidly developed and final new system that encountered with the product against these threats and the urgency field with the new solutions undesirable overshadow the sustainment of the sustaining in consideration, resulting in less efficient support of the higher life cycle costs. Support decision tools must be embedded in new product development process, influencing the design for support while not hindering the timely field of critical systems. The Department of Defense Secretary of the Gates in speech of the Economic Club of Chicago, Illinois on the 16th of July 2009 note the concern of the Department ability to respond to the irregular warfare, the support of the rapid acquisition during the period where there are important changes to the way the U.S. forces were organized, based, and employed. Investment may be made in new technologies such as unmanned aerial vehicles. However, they were also said and done Pentagon selected value would have developed and paid for the new weapon systems equipment did not fundamentally change even after September 11th. Indeed, the kinds of equipment, programs, capabilities needed to protect the troops defeated with the insurgencies in Iraq and Afghanistan were not highest priority with much of the Defense Department, even after several years of war. Clearly, the new product support business model must be flexible, responsive, in an emerging threat environment. The flexible should also reside over the end of the product life support cycle. The rapid retirement, unaffordable, and obsolete system. The model must be provided with a better means to evaluate the effective trades between keeping the existing systems alive and investing in the new ones. A product life cycle supporting the strategy is not one of the sides fits with all the solution, though the model used to determine its course can be so long as it is designed to be endurable, flexible, agile, and actionable. The module must include the standard lexicon, measure methods of documentation tools, make the full range of the product support, decision, detailed metrics, and integration with selection, rational role, responsibility, incentive contractors, and approaching the analytical approach to accelerate the program design, acquisition, and implementation. Defining the product support business model. The provided support business model encompasses the overall strategy for the product support, planning, implementation, management, and the measurement over the cycle cost, weapon system, component, subsystem, and platform is designed to fulfill the requirements discussed of love the looks and forward to the address future of the opportunities, creating expanding partnerships, the incentive of the organic sustainment of the community, managing a long-term affordability. The product support business model provides opportunity for the horizontal risk and the trade and the cost of capability and risk. Cost, capability, and risk. Clear lines of accountability, responsibility, integration. Emphasize and improve the communication, informing, sharing. Continued emphasis on outcome, performance-based strategies. One of the consistent weaknesses of the current product of the support environment is lack of the well-defined model with which for the various roles of responsibility, relationship, accountability among the managers integrated with the product support provided that have been delineated with the figure 10. The business models framework in which these elements are portrayed with the overall structure of the planning of developing, implementing, and accomplishing, standing over the life cycle concern with delineation of the roles of the model, also portrays the implementation of the performance-based agreements which enable the relationship between the entities. Figure 10 is the product support business model hierarchy level of the functions. As at the top, you see the environmental government, and inherently government, warfighting, performance-based assessment for performance managers and product support managers going into the performance-based partnering agreement with the integrated with industrial-based commercial and government PSI, three different PSI group product support integrators, and defining the performance outcomes into a product support provider that goes to the depots, to the DA, to the ICPs, the OEMs, and the DP and TIRXE, all back transversal. The top tier framework designates the inherent governmental function of developing and managing overall product of the strategies across the life cycle, beginning with the warfighter's performance requirements. The program manager has the responsibility to appropriate the sustainment strategy to achieve the effective, affordable, operational readiness consistent with warfighter resources that are allocated to the objective of the perform product manager. The responsibility for the oversight of the management of the product support function typically delegated with the product support manager, who leads development and implementing the top-level integration management of all the sources to meet the warfighter's sustainment readiness requirements. The top-level government role of the crucial of delivering in not only the system level but also the portfolio's enterprise and level capabilities across the spectrum of departments resources. The framework of the bottom of the tier portrays the product of the support implementing the agents consistent with the models emphasizing the on-performance out-based product of the support approach. There is a requirement for one or more of the product support integrators who are chartered with the integrating with the support of the public or the private, defined with the scope of the other, implementing the agreements to achieve the documented outcomes. The clear need for the entities of the public or the private to be assigned with the responsibility of delivering the performance outcomes to be endowed with the authority to integrate, manage, and provide with the oversight with the higher lower level support functions and the combinations to achieve the specified outcomes. The performance support integrators is assigned with the scope of the component for the system level and designated with the performance support manager is performed under the direction of the oversight of the performance support manager, and the performance integrators accomplish their product support role through the lower level product support providers, which are the per business in the case and analytical assessment process consistent with the statute and policy assigned with the responsibility to perform the accomplishment of the foundation functions, compromising the product support for the objective capability, enterprising the portfolio subsystem and subcomponent of the performance support. Product providers compromise the range of best value statutorily designated entities assigned with workloads that achieve the warfighting support outcomes. Performance-based work agreement is a generic term representing the range of the implementing agreed, such as the contract of memorandums of understanding, memorandums of agreement, commercial services agreement, service level agreements, and similar forms of agreements to ensure the performance exemption on both sides are clearly articulated. The foundation documentates the enact of the implementation relationship within the framework of the performance-based assessment. It begins with the warfighter uses the defined performance requirements of the initiated with the joint capabilities integrated with the development system, or JKIDS. The performance support manager acting on the behalf of the performing manager incorporated the appropriate need for the constraint agreed with the performance support integrated with they internally ensure that they to meet the agreement with the properly passed with the low term with the performance support provider who accomplishes the product of the support activities. The model should not be integrated with allowing any of the product support solution. Rather, it should be integrated with the meaning of the thorough, full approach to the product support solution designated required with the approach to appropriate balance, life, and cycles readiness, and the cause the approach of the result in the analysis will result in several solutions elements that reside for the various of the decision matrix of the product support shown in Figure 11. The locus of these solutions elements will depend on the life cycle of the system resides, the maturity of this commercial and the organical industrial space of the supporting the system, on the needs of individual servicing using the support that system. The model accompanying the text represents a simplified explanation of the verifying the elaborate, the complex, the value of the chain. The module illustrates the range of the roles, the relationship of development, the management, the accomplishment of the product support. Although the hierarchy focuses on the downflow of the requirements to enable the feedback of the load, the actual performance data other than the information can be used to improve overall product of the support of the performance. This also provides an indicator when the tree of decision best between the cost and the performance risk may be necessary. Like any chain, in the strength is determined by its weakest link. The combination requirements and strength of the links should be included by the performance-based assessment. Chapter 4 discusses the adoption of the joint supply chain and architecture, provides the standard metrics like Exxon for consistent measure of the communication at the levels of supply chain. Good communication, common goals, and reliable decision-making data cannot be overemphasized because of any element in the chain can impact the overall performance. The decision matrix of the product support, the DPMS, Figure 11 assists the program manager in identifying the product and support strategy, which derives the decision of performance, product support, integration, composition, metrics, and the incentive of the performance-based analytical assessment and an analytical matrix based on the frames on the outlines outlines the 9 product support options that are defined in the intersection of the 2 key strategic system characteristics that derive the appropriate support strategy. Weapon system strategy focused on the level of which the sustainment outcomes of the measure of the managed platform, subsystem, and component. Integrated support strategy focused on the design and required integrated with the organic partnership capability. The following of the overview of the decision product matrix product support option framework. The decision matrix product support option framework examines the intersection of the integration weapon system strategy. On the left you see the table is a weapon system strategy with a component, subsystem, and systems versus the integrated strategy of the industrial capabilities with partnership and organic capabilities. There's Each of the product security support options in this model has been designed to address the applicable product support scenario with the context and outcome of the base and the industrial government collaboration. The framework provides a decision tool for the support, selecting the most and appropriate the product support approach. The key attribute to the model is integrated with the organic with the industrial roles of the under an umbrella performance-based outcome-oriented approach for the product support. For each of the product support options, implementation elements have been developed with the provided with the guidance designed for the building of the managing weapon system program. Below is an example of the implementation elements. For more detail of these support elements are provided in Appendix C. Alright, Figure 12, implementation elements and examples. The option 2-1, industrial-centric subsystem. Targeted metrics, material availability, material reliability, cost, and additional high-level driving metrics to achieve the AM and RM, or the NMFC, ready for the task mission, rate, etc. Responsive representative example, the rationalities of the strong OE&E industrial capabilities, areas of supplier-based technical data supplying support, sustaining engineering product, upgrading the capabilities, focused on the product, and improving the cost of production, the ability to the product partner, the organic industrial base, the industrial AIW core capability requirement, best value analysis, project support roles, supply chain management, technical support, engineering support, maintenance and repair support, equipment, information system configuration management, training facilities, government and industrial incentive, leverage and commercial expertise, value utilizing government capabilities, clear best value, the performance support integrated with the or product support integration, accountability, responsibility delivering outcomes out utilizing industry responsibility selected activities and outcomes, the performance based assessment, strong consideration, fixed price per unit operational contracts with maturity legacy subsystem using cost plus incentive pay, contracts phasing toward fixed phases while the maturity subsystem incentive award team and the incentive fees tied with the achievement of the target metrics, outcomes, analytical tools and approach perform BCAs or equal better value propositions. Alright, applying the product support business model as is shown in Figure 12, the product support business model and the data matrix performance structure means that evaluate the component, compare the support of the option, the life cycle of the weapon system to provide with the consideration, metrics, practices, roles, incentives, analytical approaches, process to help accelerate the design and the performance agreements and the implementation. The approach is not perspective. Each of the service must adapt the overall of the parameters, selecting the criteria for the context of the individual unique product, the support requirements, legislative, financial constraint, and weapon system performance managing performance goals. Managing enterprise with the product support portfolios. In addition, with making the product support program-specific decision of the product support business model provides a framework for the managing of the product support portfolios across the program, common subsystem, the commodities with the propulsion, such as propulsion, fire control for the illustrative, the ability of the horizontal integration. Although the immediate objective of the weapon system performance, there are considerable economies with the scale of those that can be obtained with the enterprise with the commodities based on the management by the capitalizing opportunities while maintaining the weapon system accountability. Department of Defense increases effectiveness and the gain efficiency. With the Chapter 4 outlines the performance pay product support business model is supported with the operational strategy and the supply chain and the industrial integration. There are two examples of the potential portfolio opportunities for the cross-platform, cross-service, or the cross-industry efficiencies. Alright, this shows the opportunity existing for the commodity enterprise for the product support management. You have your, these are aligning the enterprise efficiencies of visibility, the industrial centric compatibility, component strategies, and, by looking at each of the supply chain weapon system portfolios to perform program manager service logistics approach with identified with the capitalism and the opportunity for the enterprise visibility efficiency resulting from the common management aggregation of the components common subsystem as depicted in the option 3.1 in the diagram. Implementation action, the new program supported by Business model provides a catalyst improving the weapon system availability with the focusing on total ownership. The only beginning, however, the source of the product support business model will depend on the level of sophistication the Department of Defense possesses in four key areas: leadership, structure, management, and culture. The focus of the combination of these areas becomes the basis of the success business model execution that drives organizational outcomes. The description of each of the brief summaries for the future operation provided with the following paragraphs. Chapter 5 and 6 address the opportunities in more detailed. Leadership of the good strategy allows the leaders to control through the cloud of the uncertainty provided with the subordinates authority to resource is to respond collaboratively with the speed and precision. It begins with the core or strategic vision. The unquestionable communicates with the leadership intention, the value of proposition associated with these objectives. The performance support assessment team and the supporting steering guide has established the lifecycle product support vision, guideline principles to provide with the vision and direction, but it's the effort to mature the leadership to continue with their persistent in the making of the change. The leadership can get to the big people that organize align with the support of the accomplishment of the common task of the warfighting support makes it a priority. It takes more of the saying at the top to the priority. However, although the vision is clear, more effort is accountability, quantifiable performance targets included with the enterprise performance, not just the program performance will be required required as the information with availability more record was required with the hosting of the strategic when they are competing with the priorities for the same resource. More important, leadership may ensure the visibility tools of other resources to accomplish the efforts that are demonstrate with their exemption. The structure, program support business model provides the joint structure to facilitate the Department of Defense alignment, appropriate resource allocation, and accelerated information flows. However, the efforts involved there must be more detailed information efforts of articulating structure of the process, the governing the cost of communication management methods align the execution provided with the closed loop system that motivates the higher performance of establishing strategy of the performance product program support business model. There are three key management areas: portfolio, workforce, and performance management. Portfolio management aligns with the enterprise resources, money, assets, and people, while the priorities improve with the potential achieving the corp's supported vision. Workforce infrastructure management includes the human capability strategy, assuring the right to the labor mixture, quantity, skills, and location, as well as the facility assessing operation, ownership, control, utilization, decision. Performance management is monitoring of the controlling of the behavior, the ensuring alignment with the core structure vision. Webster Dictionary defines culture as a set of shared attitudes, values, goals, and practices that characterize the institution of an organization. Culture is a pattern of the behavioral norms the members believe that they will become more than successful. This includes values, expectations, work practices, the tenets of the small business address the very well challenge remains and institutionalize the method and cure the culture through the department that requires development integration with the office of the Department of Policy Guidelines, acquisition, reform, thrust, and incorporation of the quadrennial defensive review. The 4 strategic reviews. These will be significant efforts developing, roll out, and training and education planning for the performance support business method model. Conclusion: the performance support business model directly supports the product support vision of the guiding principle, providing with a structured decision matrix that focuses on the weapon system outcomes, controlling the product life, the cost cycle, product life cycle cost, optimal aligning the Department of Defense commercial industrial capability provided by the options that enable the industrial government the balance of the perspective outlines desired of the product of support, roles and responsibility, integration, recommendations, contracting approach, the necessary incentives across the government and industrial. The model not only provides the framework with the individual programs, their subsystem, but also creates the foundation, standardization, financial, operational data that enable the cross-program capability, product support, enterprise benchmarking, information sharing, improved decision-making across the Department of Defense. The model provides with a strong foundation other than dramatic improving the product support. The successful implementation of the model will require tangible actions as indicated in below. Recommended key tasks: revise the Department of Defense and Military Service Product Support Policy to incorporate a product support business model. Prepare a product support business model guidebook for the program manager. Formalize the logistic product support cost structure to be utilized with the baseline to assess the future implementation improvement. Finally, strong committed leadership is necessary. Even the Department of Defense transfers efforts to face and inherit the obstacles, institutional resistance to challenge the intrinsic, deliberate place of the bureaucracy affecting the transformation and the environmental, even when the widely acknowledged but the vital needs. Requires visionary and determined leadership. They must accessibly reliably govern the current environmental national priority. There is no alternative but the transforming product support. Only the level of commitment will be able to overcome the tendency to evolve the intentions, dialogue, and debate, and keep the focus on the major freeform objective. The performance support its assessment task and the supporting steering guide has established the life cycle product support vision and guidelines, but the effect of the transforming must involve the collective support of the Office of Secretary of Defense, the military departments, Department of Defense agencies, and industry as well. Chapter 4: Strategies for implementing life cycle product support business model.